Thoughts, imagination, and expectation is what's required to build within us. The Bible says that to him that has, to him more will be given. So you have to already be the one that has something in order to receive that very something. And the way that we receive on the outside, it comes from what we already have on the inside. You can't receive anything physically or outside of you without first having it inside of you. That's the only way. You can't get anything that you don't already have. Once you receive on the inside, now you can receive it on the outside. If you feel that you have a cold on the inside and you receive a cold on the inside, now you're able to receive a cold on the outside. If you don't receive that cold on the inside, you cannot get the cold on the outside. You can't be rich on the outside unless you're rich on the inside. It means that you have to have already received wealth and riches, or already have received healing to get the healing. The thing that's been missing has been expectation. Most of the time, it's expectation that's missing because we have the thoughts and we have the imagination. But without expectation, we get frustrated. Without expectation, it just feels like a hope and a dream. But if you expect what you think and imagine, TIE, thought, imagination, expectation. How about that? Let's break it down. TIE, tie, thought, imagination, expectation. We can think and we can imagine, but if we don't expect what we think or imagine, then we're not receiving it on the inside. The things that we expect to happen, or the things that we expect to see, or that we expect to have, are the things that we eventually get in life. If you don't think that you're able to do something, you won't. If you don't think that you're able to get something, you won't. If you don't believe that you have the abilities to do something, you don't. Not at that moment. You haven't received it yet. Once you receive it on the inside, meaning you have the thought, you have the imagination, now you have the expectation, now it grows within you. It's created within you. Now God is authorized to give it to you on the outside, in the physical world. God is now authorized to do that for you. We think things, but then we don't expect things. I'm talking about good things because we do this on negative things. Anytime there's something bad, we think it, we imagine it, we expect it. It happens, right? Think, imagine, and expect, and it happens, right? But it happens usually with negative things because those are the things that we actually expect to happen. Faith and trust go hand in hand. Faith is like, okay, faithfulness. Faithful in a marriage or to an organization is loyalty, right? It's loyalty. So faith has to do with loyalty. But faith also has to do with trust, meaning I have faith in you. I have faith in her. I have faith in myself. I have faith in God. It's trust. Now, a lot of times we get to where we're loyal, but we don't really have that trust. So we got to put everything together. All the definitions of faith, put them together and begin to use those definitions on the things that you actually desire to have or desire to see. But first, put your faith and your trust and your hope in God. That's going to be one of the easiest things to do, because it's easier to put your faith in God than it is to put your faith in yourself. It's easier. Well, I can tell you with absolute certainty that if I go to 100 churches and ask them the same question, I'll get pretty much the same answer most of the time. Can you be God? Can you be God? Most people will say, no, I can't be God. Well, then you need to think, what's God's ability? What can God do? So if you can't be God, is God able to be you? Does he have the power and the ability to be you? Think about it. If God can be me, then he can do anything. There's nothing that he can't. If I believe that there's nothing that God can't do, nothing. There's absolutely nothing that he can't do, that he's not able to do. Not saying that he will do, but he's able to do. He's able to do it. Anything except for lie. God cannot lie, because the moment God says it, it will become. It will become. Eventually, it will become. So it's never going to be a lie, anything that God says. So if I can't be God, then God can be me. If I can't be God, okay, look, I might never be able to be God. But God can be me. He can step in to my life and start working. And it just looks like me. Still looks like me, dressed like me, act like me, talk like me. But it's God. So if we can get that deep into our spirit and deep into our hearts, that it's God. God is able. I don't have to be able. God is able. I don't have to be the one that can do it. God can do it. If I believe that God can do it, then it can now be done. If I try to think if I can do it, or if I need to put my faith or my trust in another person that can let me down, then my hopes and my dreams get shattered most of the time. But if I put my hopes and my dreams in God and just think, can God do this? Can God do it? Yeah. There's nothing that God can't do. There's nothing that God can't do. If you think of something that you think is impossible, now you got to think now, not from where you can see, but think from where God can see. Can God do it? Is God able to do it? Do you truly believe that God is able to do it? Do you believe that even if you can't do you believe that even if you can't turn your life around and change and stop whatever behavior that you're doing and maybe do something different, if you don't have faith in yourself to be able to do it, do you believe that God can do it? Do you believe that God can step into your life and do it through you? Do you believe? Do you believe in God? Do you have faith in God? And that if he can do all things, then he can turn my life around. He can turn your life around. You don't have to have faith in yourself. The Bible doesn't say have faith in yourself. It says have faith in God. Have faith in what God can do. Have faith in God's ability. Little babies are similar to us compared to God. Meaning, we have these little babies. They look at us to handle everything for them. They don't know. what they really can do later in life, but what they know is right now that they can't do certain things. They don't know how to do certain things. They can't feed themselves. They can't walk around the room yet. They can't grab their own food. They can't go into the bathroom and go to the bathroom. They can't do these things. They can't put clothes on themselves. But they believe you can. And so it gets done for them. And so God just wants us to believe that He can. If we believe that He can, then we are now on the right path to getting those things done. Yeah? If you are sick and you don't know how you're going to get better, just think, okay, you have exhausted in your mind all options for you to get better. Nothing seems to be working. But do you believe that God is able to heal you? Do you believe that God can step inside of you and be you, and if He becomes you, that all sickness and disease needs to leave? It cannot exist in God. So it's all about us getting in Him, and then Him in us, and now we have this fellowship where God can use us. Use us just like we use shoes, shirts, hats. We put one on, to match an outfit, to go with what we're already wearing, or to match what we want it to do, to be what we want it to be, or to express a certain feeling or attitude, right? So that's why we put our clothes on. The types of clothes that we wear is based on usually how we feel, where we're going, what we're doing, and that's the reason why we put on certain clothes. In the wintertime, we put on more clothes. In the summertime, we have less clothes. Different reasons, different seasons. And so God uses us in a similar way. He has seasons, and he has events that he wants to go to, that he wants to get done. And so he knows, okay, I can bring Susie over here for this one. I can bring Michael over here for this one. And so we need to understand that God doesn't think exactly the way we think. He doesn't think that way. He thinks in terms of a party planner, an organizer, a father, a friend, the best friend. He's the best of all the people that we have ever been around in our entire life. Meaning that if you can think of all the people that you thought were wonderful, God is like them. God is like them. To us, God is like them. All of them put together. Someone that you know is always loving, always kind, always sharing, always giving. God is like them. And you get to see God's character played out in the people that yield to his spirit. A person that's loving, kind, and generous is yielding to that loving and kind and generous spirit of God. A person that's always sharing things with you, no matter what. It could be a half a sandwich, and they say, "Hey, you want half of this sandwich?" They'll share with you a half of their sandwich. So quarter of a sandwich each. If they got 3 M&Ms, they'll give you one, take one, and cut the other one down the middle and split it. There's people like that in this world that are willing to take the shirt off their back and give it to someone, and that's their only shirt. I'm not talking about, okay, if a person has 1,000 shirts, here, take this shirt. I got 20 more in the car. No, I'm talking about they'll give you their very last. That's like God, or they are being like God. So God expects what he thinks and what he imagines, he expects them to happen. He expects them to happen. And anytime you operate in that way, guess what? The same thing happens. Just like The creation in the book of Genesis, how it explains that God saw after he said. So he released what he thought, what he imagined, and what he expected. He released it through his words. Words is what breaks through the spirit realm into the physical realm. Words do that. So if you imagine something and you think something so strongly, and you speak it out, and you're still experiencing the emotion behind it, it's emotional thought within your imagination. It's an expectation, a true expectation of what you think, what you imagine. It's created within you. And if you speak while you are thinking those things, imagining those things, and expecting those things to happen, you will now go from the spirit realm to the physical realm. And those things that you now spoke are going to come into your life. Isn't God amazing?